with 497 points and 232 assists, and Paige with 526 points and 150 assists. So obviously, in their first 28 games, Paige outscored Caitlin in her rookie season. And I think those are numbers. You can look at those. You can give props to Paige.
All right, let's set the record straight right now. The WNBA doesn't just give us basketball games anymore. It gives us live-action soap operas with sneakers. And on August 24th, 2025, the stage was set for another blockbuster, in what ESPN producers probably pitched as Caitlin versus Paige, dawn of just okay shooting percentages. Yeah, this wasn't just Dallas Wings versus Golden State Valkyries, oh no. This was marketed like the Super Bowl of women's hoops, except someone forgot to tell the players that we were expecting box office numbers. Instead, we got a glorified roast session delivered by the basketball gods themselves. And spoiler alert, Paige Bueckers, the supposed golden child, got humbled in real time. But let's rewind a sec, because before the ball even tipped off, the hype machine was in full overdrive. Sports media couldn't resist making this about Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark, even though, tiny detail here, Caitlin Clark wasn't even playing in this game. That didn't stop the endless lower thirds graphics, the Instagram reels, the TikToks, the dramatic voiceovers.
I think it's just like I watch a lot of basketball, I understand basketball, and she had her back turned to me, so the biggest point, the biggest thing at that point of the game is like, you just want the clock to go down, and I mean, you don't want to give them the ball, but she had her back completely turned, so I was just trying to waste some clock, and, just came to my brain, so I just went for it and kind of worked.
Tonight, Paige Bueckers looks to prove she belongs in the same breath as Caitlin Clark. First of all, relax. Belongs in the same breath? She's a basketball player, not Voldemort. Now to be fair, Paige entered this game riding a wave of headlines, and I'll give her that. The Valkyries were selling out arenas, and she's been the crown jewel of UConn nostalgia turned WNBA experiment. People were foaming at the mouth to see her have that one signature night. And she actually delivered for 3 quarters. Dropped 44 points, a career high. That's the kind of number that gets you trending on Twitter, earns you those next face of the WNBA, think pieces, and has teenagers on TikTok editing slow-mo highlight reels to Travis Scott music. Paige looked unstoppable. She was hitting step-backs, slashing to the rim, and for a moment you thought, okay, maybe the Paige hype train isn't all smoke and mirrors.
The turnovers that, the 4 turnovers today, I think a few of them were picked off by Caitlin. Was there anything in particular that you saw maybe that she was kind of step ahead, or it kind of seemed like she was jumping the passing lane?
She's just a very smart basketball player, so she'll get out and deny passing lanes. And make catches difficult.
But if you know basketball, and more importantly, if you know WNBA basketball drama, you knew something was coming. Because the Bueckers storyline is basically a Greek tragedy. She'll give you hope, she'll sell you the movie trailer, but by the time the credits roll, you're looking around like, wait, that's it? That's what I paid for. And boy, did the ending to this game drive that home. Because while Paige was cashing in her 15 minutes of fame, something far more sinister, far more hilarious, was brewing on the other side of the court. Enter stage left, Veronica Burton. Yes, that Veronica Burton. The one who most casual fans couldn't pick out of a lineup if you offered them courtside tickets. The one who had been chilling in the role of solid role player. On this random August night, though, Burton decided she was going to write herself into the script. Forget Paige, forget Caitlin comparisons, forget the media darlings. This was the Veronica Burton show, and she wasn't asking for permission. She was about to hijack Paige's coronation party and turn it into a blooper reel. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because for a good chunk of this game, you could feel the Paige Bueckers propaganda department gearing up like they'd just secured a Marvel franchise. Every time she hit a jumper, ESPN alerts. Every time she clapped her hands on defense, Twitter highlights. If she tied her shoelaces correctly, historic moment for the Wings. And listen, I get it. The league needs marketable stars. But the obsession with making Paige the next Caitlin is starting to feel like Hollywood's attempt to reboot The Office.
Paige Bueckers dropped 44 points last night. 44! Most points by a rookie in WNBA history in a game. Broke Candace Parker's record of 40. This move right here, no dribble.
Some things just can't be forced, no matter how many times you shove it down people's throats. Still, as the third quarter closed, Wings fans were feeling themselves. Paige was balling, Dallas was keeping it tight, and the storyline was juicy. The cameras kept cutting to her teammates like they were witnessing destiny. You could almost hear the producers salivating, ready to crown her the queen of August basketball. And then fourth quarter happened. Paige Bueckers had us all salivating with her 44-point fireworks show earlier in the week.
Man, yesterday's game was a tale of two different types of players. It is a tale of the most talented guard the league has ever seen. And I mean that.
She looked like the script's chosen one, about to ascend to goddess status. But then came August 24th, and the Valkyries said, "Hold our kombucha." Picture this, Valkyries, shorthanded with just 8 players, basically bodied the Wings, who are 9-29 on the year, in front of their home crowd. The final score? 90-81 in favor of Golden State. Most importantly, the hype bubble around Paige was deflated faster than an air mattress with a pinprick. Now let's meet the star who delivered the cosmic smackdown, Veronica Burton. Chances are, she was just a name to you, some jolt of energy off the bench. But on this fateful Sunday, she went nuclear. 25 points, 13 assists, 5 rebounds, and 4 blocks. That's not just a productive night. That's history. Nobody in WNBA history had ever pulled that stat line before, ever. Total flex, total takeover, and total middle finger to the narrative that Paige was untouchable. Meanwhile, Paige? She was held to just 9 points on a terrible 3-4-12 shooting night with 0 assists. Scratch that, 9 assists? The box score lied more than my nephew's excuse for not finishing his vegetables.
The WNBA has broken its all-time regular season attendance record with a month still left in the season. Over 2.3 million fans have attended WNBA games this season. And then you see there is a photo of Paige Bueckers. Now with WNBA news and how it's reported, fans will always have something to say.
This was no minor stumble. It was a full-on public breakdown. Literally her only bright spot was absolutely none. Nada. Bupkis. The Valkyries' defense didn't just guard Paige. They escorted her off the hype stage and threw the curtains over. Meanwhile, Burton was treating her like lunch money. She lobbed those 4 blocks like the scoreboard was her personal playground. 2 of those blocks were straight on Paige in crunch time. Brutal? Yes. And glorious? Oh hell yes. Honestly, it was the Valkyries' version of Thanos snapping half the universe out of existence, and all we got was Paige. By Paige. Here's the kicker. Paige had been riding this next Caitlin Clark wave since she was drafted first overall. Analysts parachuted down to kiss her sneakers, drafting mini-docs for her rookie year. But all that evaporated faster than your iced coffee on a hot day. And did the Valkyries come prepared? Heck no. The AP headline said it best. With just 8 players, they came to not just compete, but wipe the dessert plate clean. Inside that team chaos, Burton's career night was a big FU to the idea of forced rivalries and media-crafted stars. Let's remember Caitlin Clark, okay? She's lived in that defensive hurricane every night of her rookie year. Chemistry doesn't scare her, contact doesn't scare her, neither do flagrant fouls. 17% of the league's flagrant fouls last season were on her. Talk about a target. Yet she thrives. Paige got one night of that. One. And she crumpled. Fans went ballistic. Twitter exploded. Memes flooded in. Paige's 44 was on one side, her 9-point crater on the other. And satire accounts were slamming out headlines like, Paige Bueckers finds the invisible brick wall called physical defense. The Valkyries basically rebranded Paige's highlight reel into a cautionary tale. Meanwhile, Kelsey Plum plotted her endgame like she was in the Matrix. She hit the dagger buzzer beater, letting Wolves fans taste the kryptonite. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. Paige's coronation turned into the Wendy's roast special of the century.
And with this post in particular, some fans were wondering why they used Paige Bueckers as the photo to announce this record that has been broken. And one of those fans was actually NBA player Draymond Green. He said, "So I just came across this post on ESPNW Instagram, and I found the picture interesting."
So let's recap. Paige started like a legend in the making, then vanished when the lights got hot. Burton, former Dallas reject turned hero, becomes Pilgrim Queen of the night. And the media train that was barreling toward Paige's throne hit a brick wall. Or should we say Hayden Christensen level acting? Because when reality arrived, she wasn't ready for her close-up. This was more than just a bad game for Paige. It was the moment the illusion cracked. And now, instead of Paige versus Clark, the chatter is more like, was this hype train just a mirage? Let me know in the comments. Alright, let's talk fallout. Because when the Valkyries dropped that 90-81 bomb on Dallas, it wasn't just a game, it was a full-blown media earthquake. ESPN basically broke into DEFCON 1. Skip Bayless probably spit out his morning latte. And Twitter? Oh my lord, Twitter turned into the Hunger Games. Fans weren't debating the game anymore. They were fighting for survival in the Paige versus Clark wars. First, let's deal with the Paige stans. They were in full damage control, typing like their lives depended on it. Y'all don't understand, Paige was just tired. Paige was carrying too much pressure. Paige was distracted. Mercury was in retrograde. Like, relax. This wasn't NASA launch failure, it was basketball. You can't drop 44 one night, then 9 the next, and expect people to hand-wave it away like a typo. That's not rookie ups and downs. That's a full-on roller coaster designed by a drunk Six Flags engineer. Meanwhile, the Caitlin Clark hive pulled out the folding chairs like it was a WWE parking lot brawl. They were ready. Oh, so this is the savior? This is the Paige who's supposedly better than Caitlin.
Give props to how clean and how polished her offensive game is. And then at the same time, you can look at Caitlin's side and you can say 232 assists, and the defense that they were playing on Caitlin last season is like defense that no other player, I'm sorry you guys, no other player in this league has.
Every tweet was dripping with told you so energy. Clark fans were basically running victory laps around the timeline. You could practically hear the "you can't touch this" theme blasting in the background. And the media? Oh, they love a scandal more than your uncle loves yelling at the TV. The Paige versus Clark rivalry was already their golden goose, but now, they've got a comedy special on their hands. Suddenly, the headlines shifted from "Bueckers proves she belongs" to "Can Paige handle the pressure?" Overnight, she went from basketball's Elsa, Queen of the Ice, to basketball's Anna. Still important, but not the one kids are dressing up as for Halloween. And you know who's loving every second of this? Caitlin Clark herself. She didn't even have to say a word. She could just sit there, sip her Gatorade, and smile like a Bond villain. Because this is what Clark has dealt with since day one. Double teams, elbows, hate mail, the occasional WWE-style clothesline from a defender. And guess what? She's still standing. Paige, meanwhile, gets one real taste of that smoke, and suddenly she looks like she downloaded the trial version of WNBA Star, and the subscription expired after 44 points. Let's not forget Veronica Burton, the certified Paige Slayer. This wasn't just her night, it was her origin story. She was literally cut loose by Dallas, sent packing, only to come back and torch them with a stat line that had historians checking the archives. 25-13-5- for isn't just numbers, that's a declaration of war. That's the equivalent of getting dumped, then showing up 6 months later at your ex's wedding in a Ferrari, wearing designer shades and stealing the bride's thunder. Iconic. Fans were already spamming Burton Bueckers memes by halftime. And honestly, hard to argue.
Experience the defense that they play on Caitlin. A lot of people immediately, when Paige had that 44-point game, a lot of people started comparing her to Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark fans are bothered by that at times, but at this point, you guys, you have to take it as a compliment.
Paige had the narrative. Burton had the scoreboard. And as much as the Paige stans cry about potential, the scoreboard doesn't lie. And let's just roast this narrative for a second. The league needs Paige to succeed for the WNBA to grow. Do we though? Do we really? Because last time I checked, Clark's been carrying ratings like a backpack. Angel Reese has been feeding the drama machine like a Kardashian spinoff. And now Burton has given us a fresh underdog storyline. The league's not starving for headlines, it's got a buffet. Paige is just dessert. And guess what? On August 24th, she melted in the sun. Now, the funniest part of all this? The media circus that followed. Studio hosts suddenly developed amnesia about Paige's 44-point game. Gone. Poof. Out of sight. All that mattered now was the collapse. It's the sports talk cycle. Build them up, break them down, then ask, can they rise again? And Paige? She just got her first taste of that grinder. Welcome to fame, kid. Hope you like roller coasters. Meanwhile, Clark just keeps hooping. She doesn't need to say Paige's name. She doesn't need to tweet. The comparison speaks for itself. Clark is stability, Paige is volatility. Clark is the Netflix original everyone actually watches. Paige is that hyped-up limited series that people binge for a weekend and then forget exists. Shots fired? Absolutely. But tell me I'm wrong. And the best roast of all, Paige's own fans trying to spin her 9 points as developmental growth. Yeah, because when I burn toast, I also call it charcoal progress. Growth is fine, but let's not pretend she didn't just get cooked like a Sunday brisket by Veronica Burton. That's not growth. That's a setback dressed up in a Hallmark card. Bottom line, Paige got a reality check. Clark still runs the throne. And Veronica Burton? She just etched her name in the random career night that fans will never forget, Hall of Fame. If Paige wants to sit at the table, she's gonna need more than one hot game. She's gonna need consistency. Otherwise, she's just another name in Clark's highlight reel of people who thought they could hang, but couldn't. So here we are. The dust has settled on August 24th, and the scoreboard is still staring at us like a flashing neon sign. Valkyries 90, Wings 81. Paige Bueckers had the basketball version of a Netflix pilot. One week everyone's talking Emmy buzz, the next week everyone's saying, "Wait, is this show canceled already?" Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark didn't even lace "I'm up" in this game, yet somehow she's the biggest winner of the night. That's the beauty of sports rivalries, right? Clark versus Bueckers isn't just basketball, it's pop culture. It's Batman versus Joker, Pepsi versus Coke, Taylor Swift versus Ticketmaster. And the plot just gave us its juiciest twist yet. Paige doesn't just have to chase Clark, she's gotta outrun Veronica Burton, the former Dallas castoff who came back like Thanos collecting Infinity Stones. You want underdog cinema? Burton's stat line was basically Rocky with box scores. But let's get real. The Paige meltdown wasn't a tragedy, it was a wake-up call. Welcome to the WNBA, where the defenses don't care that your Instagram fan pages make PowerPoint slideshows of your UConn highlights. They will lock you down, drag you across half court, and make you rethink every decision that led you here. Paige got baptized. And guess what? That's not a bad thing. It's the tax you pay for stardom. Still, the irony is delicious. Paige was supposed to be the one, the rival who could finally balance Clark's gravitational pull on the league. And instead, she just gave Clark's army of fans more ammo than an action movie sequel. The next time Clark drops 30 in a Fever jersey, Twitter is going to be flooded with, "But Paige had 9. Sports debates aren't fair. They're petty. And right now, Paige is holding the L in one hand and the receipts in the other. So what's next? Paige can bounce back. She can rewrite this narrative. But she better do it quick, because Caitlin Clark is still putting up cheat code numbers. Angel Reese is still running the drama department. And now Veronica Burton just kicked the door down with a flamethrower. The WNBA has no shortage of stars. Paige can't just show up. She's got to prove she belongs.